And we are back with another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hutchison, and we are officially 7 days away, Willie Tuitama days away, from Arizona opening off its 2025 college football season as the Wildcats take on the Rainbow Warriors in Tucson on TNT. Again, this is the first time the two teams are meeting since the passing of legendary head coach Dick Tomey, who turned both programs around and made them into a very competitive college football team. Now, again, we are in the middle of training camp, actually ending training camp now, as Brent Brennan and the Wildcats have seen a lot of new faces on the roster, 61 total new faces on the roster via the transfer portal and recruiting class, with some walk-ons as well. And then changes on the coaching staff with Seth Dagey taking over as offense coordinator, relieving Dino Babers of his duties, Danny Gonzalez being promoted to defense coordinator, and then bringing in the likes of Joe Salavea, Josh Bringle, and Josh Miller to the coaching staff. There were some changes needed to be made. Brennan looked out and saw the errors from the previous staff, saw what they were doing wrong, and made those changes for the betterment of the team, even though some of those issues and some of those decisions were very difficult. Got rid of some coaches that have been with him a long time, brought in some high-level guys like Salavea, who's one of the best recruiters in the country, Seth Dagey, one of the most interesting and talented young offensive minds in college football, and interesting in a good way because he's an air raid guy that also takes a running approach to the game and wants to be up-tempo. It's not your typical, Mike Leach, Sonny Dykes, throw it, 50, 60, 70 times. He cares about the run game. That's why he's interesting. That's why he won the job from Brennan to be the Arizona offense coordinator. Now, still, there's some familiar faces. Noah Fifita is back as quarterback for the Arizona Wildcats. Rhino Tapatoa is coming off of his season-ending injury last year and looks to be the tackle for the Wildcats moving forward, potentially this season as he gets healthier. Guys like that, and then also guys on the defensive side of the ball, Tay Brown, Traden Stukes, Dalton Johnson, and most importantly, and Trey Smith as well, but most importantly, who I think might be the best player on the team, who could be a potential first-round draft pick and Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, Genesis Smith, who had a tremendous 2024 season, despite Arizona's issues and finishing 4-8. He was tremendous. You look at how he's progressed from his freshman year till now. He is one of the leaders on the team and a ball-hawking safety that has gone under the radar, which I can't explain. This guy is going to be in line for a Jim Thorpe Award this season. He's going to be really fun to watch for the Wildcats. Now, coming into training camp, Arizona challenged Noah Fifita to be more vocal, to use his legs more, and be that leader on the field. He's a tremendous leader off the field, but he needed to be more vocal. And Noah Fifita went out, put his head down, and went to work. And we've seen him grow in the offense. I mean, think about it. He's learning 3 different offenses in 3 consecutive seasons. That's not easy. I don't care if you're high school, college, pro. That is not easy. I don't even care if you're an NFL Hall of Famer. You're going to pick up offenses, sure. But it's not an easy task to have 3 different offense coordinators, 3 different play callers, 3 years in a row. And the NFL, when that happens, guess what? Most of the time, they don't succeed. Same with college. He's gone from Jed Fish, tremendous play caller. And yes, he was, even though the head coach, the offense coordinator. No offense to Brennan Carroll. He was not the offense coordinator. It was Jed Fish. Then he goes to Dino Babers, who just has, I don't want to say a Corvette, but a very nice vehicle. We'll say, a high-end Tesla, and completely crashes it. Sets the whole thing on fire. You have Tetero McMillan, you have Noah Fifita, you have a solid offense line, although there were injuries, and you just put the whole thing on fire. The offense didn't meet his strengths. It was a clunking mess. And then you go to Seth Dagey, who reminds me a lot of Rich Rodriguez in the sense of his mindset, wanting to be up-tempo, move, and not being afraid to run the football. Again, Marshall finished 20th in rushing last year, and he's an air raid guy. If he has the tools on his roster to run the ball, they're going to run the ball. If he has the tools on the roster to throw the ball 60, 70 times, they're going to throw the ball 60, 70 times. He doesn't care the end result of stats. But this offense meets the strengths of Noah Fifita. You're not going to see just 4 verts 80% of the time. Again, I get it was more complicated than that in Dino's system, but it was atrocious. It was mostly long bombs. Noah's got a great arm, but those type of passes do not meet his strengths. Get the ball out quick, make quick decisions, get it in space, get it to your playmakers, and go to work. That's Noah Fifita's game right there. And he's a great pocket passer. He's great with pocket awareness. He's great at making high football IQ plays. You got to put him in those positions to do so. And Daggy has been able to do that. You've seen him grow in the offense. He is learning the system. I don't want to say he's mastered it. I wouldn't say he's at a Padawan level for all you Star Wars nerds out there. He's at, I would say, a Jedi Knight level. He's getting there. He's progressing. And by mid-season, he'll be a master at this offense. I have no doubt about it. And he will finish in the top 5, if not top 3 quarterbacks in the Big 12. Right now, there are so many lists out there that don't have Noah Fifita as a top 10 quarterback in the Big 12, and that's ridiculous. That's asinine. Did he have a poor year? Yes. But his poor year is 61% completion, 18 touchdowns, 12 picks. 12 picks isn't great. He got sacked 28 times. It's not good, but it's not all on him. And he still had a high touchdown rate, a solid completion rate. Hell, you look at Florida, Anthony Richardson, who was a first-round pick, top 10 pick, his completion percentage was 54% in college. You're basically starting out at 50 because of all the screen passes and quick outs. So, it's basically 4% at that point. Noah Fifita was at 61%, despite the struggles. So, what you need to watch for this season with Noah Fifita is his vision. Again, high football IQ player. But when you have only one target, you're under duress, you're going to miss guys. And last year, he was missing guys wide open at times. And again, it's in situations where you just got to get the ball out, but there's so much pressure. There's so many blitzes. There's very little targets, and sometimes you miss guys. So vision, that's number one. His vision is going to improve. He's going to be able to progressively read the field like he did in 2023. Again, Noah Fifita had one of the best freshman seasons in U of A history. Well, redshirt freshman. The other one, Anu Solomon. And they went on to go 10-4, lost in the Fiesta Bowl. Noah Fifita, 10-3, win in the Alamo Bowl. There's a lot of similarities. Obviously, very different style, different passing ability, different that, but how the season went. Number 2 is going to be his vocal leadership out there on the field. When things start to break down, he's going to be the guy to rally everybody. He's going to say, hey, calm the hell down. Let's focus on this play, one play at a time. Let's execute this, go from there, and let's roll. Keeping everybody in line. Last year, he was, I don't want to say scared to do it, but he was hesitant to do it. And the coaching staff talked about that, how they wished he'd be more vocal. And now he is. So I think you're going to need to look for that this season and see how he's progressed as a leader. And lastly, we talked about it, the legs. Noah Fifita is not a slow quarterback. In college football, I just want to say this, does a terrible job of rushing yards for quarterbacks. They do a horrible job across the board. Why? In the NFL, when you get a sack, it doesn't count against your rushing yards or your rushing team totals. It shouldn't. Why count that? It's a sack. Why go against the rushing totals? In college football, it does. So what's Noah Fifita's career rushing yards in college? Mind you, he's had games where he's had 50, 60 rushing yards, 70 at times. It's -16. He's not a statue back there. That stat does not show how good of a runner he can be. Again, he's mobile. He's great with pocket awareness. He knows how to escape and extend the play. So this year in this Seth Diggy offense, look for quick hitters. Look for RPOs. Look for design runs. Noah said it in his press conference. There's some design runs in this offense for him. Some plays that will show his ability to run the football. Draws, QB draws, counters, stuff like that. You're going to see that this year. And I think you're going to see what that does for the offense. Instead of having, let's say, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12 or 2nd and 8, you're going to see 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. Positive. If you keep, Rich Rod always talked about, get ahead of the curve. You don't want to be behind script. Jed Fish talked about it too. You need positive plays on first down. There were too many negative plays last year. You saw situations where Arizona was lining up in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, or worse. You want it to be where you're lining up 3rd and 5 or lower. Preferably 3rd and 6 you can manage. But you want it in your favor. So look for his legs to be a huge factor this season. I think you're going to see it against Hawaii. I think you're going to see it against Weber State. And it's really going to show against Kansas State. You know, Kansas State's going to be favored in that game. And they should be. They kicked the crap out of Arizona last year. 31-7. So why would people think it's going to be different? Not so fast, my friend. I'm not saying it's going to be an upset. I'm not at that point yet. But it's closer than the experts think. So we will have coverage of the week leading up to kickoff, that whole entire week. Have press conferences with Brent Brennan. We have press conferences with the offense coordinator and defense coordinator and players, and one more with Brennan before we go on to the game against Hawaii. So be sure to follow us, Arizona Wildcats on SI.com. Make sure to follow our Twitter account at Arizona Wildcats on SI, or get myself followed, Troy Hutchison at THutch1995, and we'll see you next time.